Today's an interesting day. Today is a very interesting day. And what makes it interesting is my feeling that I'm having today. And I'm big on self-regulating. I'm big on having conversations with yourself. I feel like it is so imperative. So why not talk to myself while you're here? Yeah, let's do that. Also, these pimples, I don't know where I know where they're coming from. Yeah. My ladies, we know when, So, as I'm going to do some dishes and get my home in order, we're gonna have some wholesome conversation together where we can just help each other understand what we're feeling. Okay, maybe what I'm feeling. Yeah. So let's dive into it. I have recently became a shopper of Temu. Now, I will never forget, I remember hearing about Temu, and I was like, I shouldn't get into it for the simple fact that I don't need it. I had no desire, right? But what had happened was, because there's always what had happened. What had happened was I met this girl, and she was telling me, girl, you should get on Temu. And I was like, I think it's a scam. Is the quality really good? She's like, I promise you're going to love it. I remember buying one thing. It was extra small, couldn't fit it. And then I stopped shopping there. But then I was like, let's try again. Tried it again, and I loved it. I am an avid Temu girl. Avid. I love me some Temu. And I've realized when you do with Temu, you don't go from Temu to Shein. Shein. You don't go from Shein to Temu or from Temu to Shein. You don't. You stay with your people, right? The community understands. As I was shopping, I was like, this stuff is pretty good quality and it's cheap. So obviously when things are cheap and it's good quality, it's like 2 + 2 = 4 all day, every day. We getting it. Even if I don't need it, I'm going to get it. And I got into this habit of shopping. Now, mind you, I am not a shopper. I don't want to say I was late to the party, but I know people, i.e. my mom and my brother, like they shop. They're going to Red Bottoms, the name brand stuff. You name it, they probably got it. Me, I remember Conway. Okay, I was a Payless girl, right? And what I had experienced was sometimes when you're late or when you finally catch on to stuff, you need discernment about how far it could take you if you're just jumping out the window doing it. Okay, so we gonna talk. Because as a girl who hasn't shopped and felt backed up like I was missing something, when I finally started shopping, I was like, oh, I see what everybody was talking about, because it started with going to Target and TJ Maxx, and I love TJ Maxx. I'm a TJ Maxx fanatic. Home Goods, Marshalls, Burlington, different stores, whatever, but those are my babies. And I remember going to these places and I was just shopping, and every time I would go outside, I would find something. And I realized there was a moment when I was shopping and I was like, I don't need this, but why am I buying it? And when I came home, I was like, I am giving myself the things that I didn't feel like I deserved at one point. Because I didn't go shopping for myself for a long duration of my life, I just didn't need a lot of stuff. And I've been the same size for the majority of my whole life. I've ranged between 115 and 130 throughout the whole duration of my life. So my clothes relatively fit me. When I was 115, I still had a butt and stuff. So I didn't really have to go shopping. I could still fit the things from high school. Okay? But what I realized is sometimes as we try to get into things that we deprived ourselves of for a really long time, we're wobbly. We're wobbly. And I say this in life. When you haven't spoken up for yourself for a long time, when you didn't get your finances in order because you didn't have money, and then you start getting money, You have to acknowledge this is new for me. I'm going to be wobbly until I find a good balance where I can stop trying to fulfill what I didn't have because I got it now, while also acknowledging I got it now and I need to be mindful that I have it now. As a person who was consuming, I realized that this consumption was not just in what I was buying. It was what I was eating. It was in the people I was dealing with. I was just a consumer. I was consuming other people's energies, other people's opinions, other people's mindsets. I was consuming. And I didn't like it. And I didn't realize that I was doing it until I noticed that I was just always shopping. I realized that I was shopping because I didn't want to acknowledge the real inner core work that had to be done. Because shopping gave a quick dopamine. It was like, oh, I can fit this. I look good in it. I want it. I'm taking it. And then when I would go home, I'm like, I ain't got nowhere to go. I don't really want to go nowhere. Or I'd be like, I spent how much? Did I really need to? I'm not returning it because I like it, but damn. Look at my bank statement and I see eating out, going shopping, eating out, going shopping, eating out, eating out, eating out. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm a consumer. Go on Instagram, I'm consuming other people's opinions. I'm consuming who liked what I posted. I'm consuming other people's information. I can help you how to make, I can teach you how to make money like this. I can teach you how to, I can teach you, I can teach you, I can teach you, I can show you. I was consuming so much information that I became double-minded in myself. I became very lost in the sauce of consumption. Very confused by, will this work? Will that work? Can this happen? Can that? And funny enough, Spirit would always tell me, you know what you got to do. But I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do what I know will get me from point A to point Z as if I did a quantum leap. It was so smooth. So I just kept consuming. I kept consuming how to make money quick. I kept consuming what is the new herbs to buy. I kept consuming new relationship tips. I kept consuming how to stay thin and new workouts because I am a personal trainer. I kept consuming new herbal books because I am an herbalist. I kept consuming. And the problem with consuming wasn't that I was just consuming, but I also was not outputting anything. I wasn't producing as much as I was consuming, which caused an imbalance in my spirit. So when I would get home and I would just look at everything I consumed, I would always ask, well, what did I produce today? And the answer was not a damn thing. How did I fix that? I'm happy you asked. I would go on YouTube. How do you stop someone from consuming? Consumption overload. And I'm like, I'm in it again. I'm literally in the hypnotic rhythm of consumption. And nobody's gonna be able to get me out but me. And why is this important? Because as I started to realize I'm in a hypnotic rhythm of consumption, I said I have to do this thing cold turkey. I can't go and ask how to stop consuming because that's me consuming on how to stop consuming. It was basically, Shay, how do you want to feel? What are you running from that needs to be addressed? And that's why self-regulation is important. Because when you can come back to you and ask you questions and then get a direct response, that's power. Because the way that I made it make sense was I said to Spirit, you know, I never went shopping. I didn't have that moment of I just want to buy and buy, and I didn't have that. I was always a frugal person. Money was always something that I didn't have the best relationship with. So when I would get it, I didn't know what to do with it. I would just hold on to it for dear life. And my mom would always say, Shayla, you need to shop. And I didn't realize that what she was also saying, even though she didn't say it, is if you keep withholding this from yourself, there's gonna be a moment where it's gonna be so bottled up that it's gonna explode, and you're not gonna have balance. You're not gonna have discernment. You're gonna see it, you're gonna want it, and the way that you're gonna get it is because you're gonna be able to go back and say, well, it took me so long to get here. When I realized that my ability to consume was so intense, I realized that the side effects was I stopped thinking logically on what do I really want to feel versus what can money get me. Like I realized, like, oh, I want those jeans, I get them jeans. If I want to take a trip, I can take a trip. If I want this, I can get that. But then, and this is where the kicker came, I was like, I have to be able to generate that money back. It's not just falling from the sky. And because of that, that's when it got real, because I'm like, I actually work for this. Like I show up for people. They paid me to give them something. And my energy is rewarded by this. And the way that I show appreciation is I blow it like that. And then I get mad. And then I go to someone who doesn't know me, who doesn't understand my mechanical makeup, and ask, well, how do I fix this? Which causes more frustration, because it's like, why are you asking them? Ask yourself and listen to the response. So it was literally a cycle. And when I realized consumption overload is a real thing, when you're always seeking, tell me what to do today, how to do this today, what can happen in this moment, where do I go here? You're in consumption overload. You are literally lost in the sauce, and you don't have a damn clue of how to get out. And the answer that came to me might be an answer for you, which is sit your ass down and allow all of those feelings that you're trying to cover up with the new pair of jeans and a fancy restaurant and a new book, some new shoes and a new trip and that. Allow those feelings to surface, because they're literally energy in motion. Let them flow and tell you what is really going on, what you're really trying to suppress, what you really need to deal with. Let those feelings speak to you, and then you'll know what to do. Consumption is a band-aid to fear of producing something. That's how I looked at it. It would have been different if I was producing and consuming. There's a balance. But for me, I was consuming, maybe producing a little bit. Maybe a little sizzle here, a little sprinkle there, a little dollop. But I was gulping down consumption. You know that saying, work hard, play hard? Your girl wasn't really working as hard as I thought. And then I realized I don't want to work hard. It was work smart, play smart. Work wise, play wise. Because then you have a level of discernment on, I don't need another video to teach me how to do this. Am I utilizing the last favorite tabbed videos of how to do this? Have I used any of that information to produce any type of positive outcome? If the answer is no, then I'm not. And my thing is, I had to ask myself, like, well, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What do you want to feel? And when I started to come into it, I'm like, oh, so if you're going to consume, Consume something that can get you closer to that thing that you want, right? And then make a deadline. I'm going to produce this. So that there is now a balance in the energetic realm where it's like, oh, Shayla now wants to produce something. Okay, well, now let's give her more fuel to produce, not just consume. Because if you're always a consumer, you're not just gonna consume in one area of life. You're gonna consume in probably other areas of life. Just like if you're a producer, you're most likely gonna be producing in other areas of life. If you're a producer and you create money, you're most likely going to be a producer in the conversations you have. You're going to produce knowledge and wisdom and understanding. When you're a producer in the conversations you have, then you're probably a producer in the relationships you have where they hold value. They produce goodness from you. You produce goodness for them. But if you're always a consumer, you're probably the most selfish partner ever and don't even know it. Always need something, always want something, always want to take something. When it comes to money, you probably can make it, but you always want to blow it on something. Always got to do this, always run it. I realize that a lot of people who always need to take vacations, it's not just because you can take vacations. This is not for everybody, but for some. It's because your home is not calm enough and relaxed enough and peaceful enough where you want to dwell in it. You always gotta go. You always outside. You always gotta do something because you haven't set your home to feel like your dwelling place. And I had said to Spirit, I don't want to go on a trip claiming it's just a fun vacation, yet in the reality, I am dreading to come back home because I know that I gotta pick up the things that I tried to stuff under the damn rug. And when I open that door from the sunny vacation, I'm going to trip over my nonsense because before I left, I didn't do my cleanup. I just stuffed it and now I'm tripping over it. And now I'm planning my next vacation because I still don't want to deal with that. That's not a flex. Even though we don't see it because you're always posting on new vacation, that don't mean that Spirit don't know what's going on. It don't mean that you don't know what's going on. Because you can't hide from you. You can hide from us. You can flex for anybody on the gram, on the camera. But I have made a decision that the true lifestyle that matters is one where you have freedom of choice. Say, I want to do this because I can do this, and I don't want to do that because I don't have to do that. It's when you have the freedom to be authentic. Chef's kiss, because you have done the work to realize I am who I am. I accepted. And as I was consuming and consuming and consuming, I was like, your girl needs to take a fast. I need to acknowledge what I need is in here. Not in what I'm consuming. Not in what I'm watching. I made a decision to say, this is it. I'm ready. Let's go. Because a lot of us forget. And I think some of us really don't know that what we seek is truly within. What we desire is truly within. There's no new pair of jeans. There's no new pair of shoes. There's no new exotic food. There's no new person, male or female, that's going to get you from here to there if you don't want to go. If you don't want to accept it. If you don't want to make the decision. If you don't want to make the change. It's scary when you think about it because you realize it's really a you thing. And of course, the ancestors and Spirit definitely plays a part. I ain't gonna put too much dip on my chip. But I am gonna say, when you open the door to who you be, how you be, when you acknowledge who you are in all the ways that you show up for yourself, and the ways that you don't. When you acknowledge that, you know what, I have information overload. I have consumption overload. I be up here asking questions when I know the answer. I be moving too slow when I probably should have moved quicker. I keep thinking I missed the boat when there's literally another one coming around the corner, but I'm so hung up on the one that I missed that I can't even get on this one with comfort and peace because I'm still dwelling on the one I missed. When we acknowledge these things, it's kind of like ding, immediate. So, but I'm just chatting. I am just chatting. But if you like this chat, do like, share, and subscribe. I'll talk to you soon.